Shalom. Today I want to talk about the beginning of the book of Vayikra, which was actually last week's Torah portion. And I'm also preparing for Passover. So this week I'm going to do a double Torah portion, Vayikra and Tav, to be in sync with where we're supposed to be. But I'm also going to use that within the topic of the Passover. So we're basically going to do the Passover topic in sync with the parasha of this week and last week. And I've started the weekend, and this morning it's actually quite fascinating how the things align with the intent. The reason being is that Vayikra, or the book of Leviticus, deals with the sacrificial system. The first parasha in Leviticus is about the 5 main types of sacrifices. And in line with the Passover sacrifice, that aligns perfectly that Yeshua fulfilled all 5 types of sacrifices. And that is basically the premise of our study for this week coming. We're also going to look at some interesting words, interesting word pictures. And I'm actually fascinated about how the Hebrew is alive, you know. Just for example, the word Vayikra, it's Vav Yod, and then Kufresh Hey, Kufresh Yod Kuf Kara Kufresh, I think it's Ayin or I can't remember, and then the Aleph. And the word Kara is in the center of Vayikra. And that word basically is in context of the words spoken between Moses and Yahweh in the Ohel Moed, in the tent of meeting, the holy place. And that conversation, I look at the gematria of Kara, and it's the number 310. And to my astonishment, all those words align perfectly with the sacrificial system, and specifically the covenant and the sacrifice Yeshua did for us. So that's the heart of Vayikra, the word Vayikra. That's the heart of the topic. We're also going to look at the heart of the Torah, which is the book of Leviticus. And we're also going to look at the center, middle word, or the 2 middle words, because it's an equal number of words in the Torah, which is basically the same word repeated, which is Dorosh Tarash. That means to certainly search, and that is also linked to the Passover. So it's actually fascinating to see, if you zoom in from the outside inside the book of Leviticus, that's in the center or the middle branch of the menorah, and if you zoom further into the heart of Leviticus, into the words, it actually highlights the Passover sacrifice of Mashiach. So that was mind-blowing when I discovered that. So I'm looking forward to sharing that this Passover. I'm also gonna look at actually another fascinating thing, the Tav, the next Torah portion, which is actually this coming Shabbat, which is in sync with the Passover and unleavened bread, is connected to last week's Torah portion, which is to do with Sarah, the mother, looking after the baby. So that theme actually continues, and that process is basically taking form, moving forward. So when we look back on last week's Torah portion, it was basically the birth of Yitzhak, the birth of the tabernacle. Everything was fulfilled, and the glory that filled the house is like the baby coming out of the water from the womb of the mother, experiencing the light that is on the outside of the womb, and that is the glory of Yahweh. So the same symbolism applies to the tabernacle as the birth of a new baby. That's overlaid with the birth of Isaac. That means laughter and joy. So Yahweh is very happy about the birth of his baby, which is the tabernacle, and the mother, who is depicted by Sarah, now needs to look after her baby. So we're going to see a few interesting things from the word Tav and the connections through Tav, which is Tzadik Vav. If you look at the meanings, Tzadik means righteous and Vav means man. So it's a righteous man who was born a righteous man, who is Yeshua, who is without sin. And through him we become righteous people of Elohim, which is another word for Yisrael. So everything is beautifully connected and linked to one another, and I'm fascinated about the connections. And since I discovered the Hebrew, I don't know how many years back, maybe 18, 20 years back, I have never been disappointed. There was never been any conflicts or contradictions in Scripture. It always confirmed a previous verse or a previous storyline or a previous pattern, and it's just fascinating how the deeper level that's underneath the surface is confirming the surface level of the history and the storyline of Yahweh's people. So I'm amazed and fascinated, and I would love to share the techniques to everybody, as well as sharing the connections. Now, 2 Torah portions back, I discovered the connections of the patterns of the instructions and the construction sequence that's different and how they connect. So that actually opened up my eyes to link things differently and to connect things differently in another way. I, in the past, only used the menorah pattern to make these connections. So it's been a new eye-opening journey for myself as well. So never too old to learn. It doesn't matter whether you studying Torah now for 10, 20, 30, 50 years, doesn't matter. There will always be something new to learn. Yahweh's word is so full and so rich. Multiple lifetimes will be too short in order to understand the fullness of what came from the mind of the Father. So excited about this Torah portion coming. I hope I give you a bit of an appetizer. Looking forward to speaking to you guys this Sabbath. We're actually going to do it at the end of the Sabbath, at the start of sunset, which is basically the starting of the 14th of Nisan, which is the day of preparation. So we're one day a bit early, but that's just to link it with the weekend and the normal Sabbath. I speak to you soon, and have a lovely day. Shalom.